My name's Jackson. I'm 32 now, but this happened about 4 years ago when I moved back to my family's old property in rural Tennessee. My dad had passed away suddenly, heart failure, and my mom couldn't keep up with the place on her own. So I packed up from Nashville, quit my job, and moved back to the house I grew up in. It sits right on the edge of the Duck River, 10 acres, surrounded by thick woods, with a trail that winds down to the water. It's beautiful during the day. It's at night, it's a different story. My dad used to walk the property every evening with this old kerosene lantern. I always thought it was kind of unnecessary. It's like something out of the 1800s, but he said it helped keep away coyotes. I didn't think much of it until I started walking those same trails myself, the first time I saw the light. I was on the east side of the trail near the riverbank. It was about 8:30 at night, just getting dark. I had my dad's lantern with me, and I was halfway through the loop when I noticed something. Off, across the river, maybe 100 yards ahead, there was another lantern, just barely visible through the trees.
Ow.
It looked exactly like mine, same warm glow, same slow sway, as if someone was walking. But I hadn't heard anyone. No footsteps. No voices. Just the soft crunch of leaves under my own boots. I called out, thinking maybe it was a neighbor or someone hunting illegally across the river. But the second I spoke, the light stopped moving. Then it went out. Just gone. Like someone blew it out and ducked behind a tree. I stood there for a while, listening. Nothing. No rustling. No splashing in the water. Dead silent. I finished the walk and went inside, trying to brush it off as a reflection or maybe even a trick of the eyes. But the next night, it was back. Same place, same distance, around the same time, made 30 on the dot. But this time, it was closer, maybe 60 or 70 yards. I didn't call out. I just stood there and watched. After a minute or two, it started moving toward me. Not fast, slow. Like someone was walking a steady pace. I turned and went straight back to the house. That night I didn't sleep. Thinking about that light, how it moved, how it didn't make any sound. I even tried to convince myself it was a camper or someone fishing late at night. But there were no tents, no vehicles, and the river's too shallow on that side for boats. Next few nights, I stayed inside. I'd watch from the back porch just before 8:30, and sure enough, the lantern would appear. Every time it was a little closer. Always on the trail. Always silent. By the 5th night, it was on my side of the river. That's when I called the county sheriff. A deputy named Mac came out. He was an older guy, been working the area for decades. I told him what I'd seen, and to my surprise, he didn't laugh. He just looked at me and said, "Your dad used to call us about the same thing. Said he saw someone walking those trails at night with a lantern. We checked a few times, but we never found anyone." I asked if he thought it was someone messing with us, and he said something that stuck with me. He said this land's got a long memory. Some things out here don't like being disturbed. He suggested putting up cameras, maybe staying inside after dark for a while. I took his advice. I set up 2 trail cams and avoided the trails after sunset. But when I checked the footage, nothing. No movement. No lights. But every night, around 8:30, I'd still see that lantern outside. Closer. Always closer. One night, I decided to test something. I didn't bring the lantern out at all. I stayed inside with the lights off and watched from the upstairs window. At 8:33 p.m., I saw 2 lanterns, one near the river and one right at the edge of the backyard. That was the first night I locked. Every door and window before bed. Things got worse after that. I started hearing footsteps on the porch. The sound of metal tapping on the side of the house, like someone dragging something along the wood. Once, around midnight, I woke up to the faint smell of kerosene, like someone had lit a lantern inside the house. I checked every room. Nothing. The next day, I noticed the back porch door, which I had definitely locked, was open. Just barely. Like someone had tested it and slipped in. I called Deputy Mac again. He came out, looked around, and said the same thing. No signs of forced entry, no tracks. But this time, he looked more uneasy. He asked if I had any family stories about the land. I told him not really, just that my great-grandfather built the place after returning from the war, Max said. Well, I'd keep that lantern inside. And don't go out after dark, not even onto the porch. The next night, I sat by the front window with a rifle across my lap. I didn't plan on shooting anyone, but I needed to feel like I had some control. At 8:30, the lantern appeared again. This time, right at the tree line, not moving, just sitting still. Like whoever was holding it was watching the house. At 8:33, it went out. At 8:34, I saw the back porch light flicker, and then I heard it creaking floorboards. Inside the house, I stood up slowly, heart pounding. The sound was coming from the hallway. Footsteps. I yelled. Who's there? I'm armed. No answer. Just the soft creak of old wood under pressure. Step after step. I flipped the light on. Nothing. But there was one more thing that still keeps me up at night. The front door. I had deadbolted it, but now it was unlocked. Story 2 sometimes. It's not the things you see that haunt you, it's the things you hear. When you're alone in the countryside, miles from town, and the scream echoes through the trees, no amount of locks or laws can keep you safe. These are 3 true stories where isolation met something terrifying, and help never came in time. Name is Sarah. I'm 33 now, but this happened when I was 22. Back in 2014, I'd just graduated from college, moved back home to help my dad out after my mom passed away. We lived in an old farmhouse, way out on Fox Hollow Road in rural Kentucky, basically nothing but pastures, woods, and silence. It was the kind of place where time felt slower, and neighbors were half a mile away at best. Dad was a quiet man. Inherited the land from his father, and never wanted to leave. I respected that, but I'd be lying if I said that house never creeped me out, especially after dark. The first time I heard it, it was just after 3 a.m. I remember the clock exactly. I'd fallen asleep on the couch, and something woke me up. Not a bang, not a knock, just a scream. It wasn't close, but it wasn't distant either. Like it was just past the tree line, on the other side of our cornfield. Long, drawn-out, high-pitched, female, maybe? I sat straight up. My dad wasn't in the room. The TV was still on, playing some muted infomercial. I walked to the window and stared out, heart thumping. But I couldn't see anything. I figured maybe it was a bobcat or a fox. They make weird noises, right? I told myself that, went back to sleep, didn't mention it. Next night, same thing. 3:03 a.m. this time, it was closer. Not right outside the house, but closer than before. And it wasn't just a scream. It was followed by this whimpering sound, like someone gasping for air between sobs. It was awful. It's not animal. I don't care what anyone says. It sounded human, painful. I woke my dad up. He sat up, listened, didn't say much, just shook his head and mumbled, "You're hearing the screamer." I thought he was joking. He'd hold me, people. On Fox Hollow, had talked about it for years. Started way back in the 60s. Some thought it was a mountain lion. Others said it was a woman who got lost in the woods decades ago and never made it out. And a few said it was something else entirely. Something that could mimic human pain to lure people outside. My dad told me not to go looking. Just lock the doors, keep the lights off, and never answer if you hear it calling your name. That got me? Calling my name? I asked. He looked me dead in the eyes and said, "It doesn't always scream. Sometimes it calls." I didn't sleep that night. 2 nights later, the scream came back. This time, it was right outside my bedroom window. I froze in bed. I didn't move. Not even to breathe. It wasn't even a scream that time. It was like a wheeze. A wet, gurgling wheeze followed by a whisper my name. Not yelled. Whispered. Just barely audible through the glass. Sarah. Don't know how long I stayed frozen. Maybe minutes. Maybe an hour. But eventually, I grabbed the bat from under my bed and ran to my dad's room. He was already awake. Said he'd heard it too. We called the police that night. A deputy came out the next morning. He was polite but clearly skeptical. He said there were no signs of tracks, no signs of forced entry, nothing unusual, but he did say something weird as he left. Fox Hollow. Ah, yeah, you folks be careful out here. Lot of strange calls over the years. Screams, folks going missing, never found most of them. That didn't sit right with me. Over the next week, it kept happening. Always around 3 a.m., always somewhere on the property. Once it was on the roof, another time, it was behind the barn. The night that broke me, though, was when I found footprints in the dirt under my window. Bare feet, small like a child's my. Dad and I set up cameras around the property, motion sensors, even rigged up a floodlight system, but it never triggered. We'd hear the sound, the scream, sometimes even the whisper, yet nothing on video, no movement, no figures, just empty. Stillness. We stopped sleeping. Eventually, my dad had enough, said we were moving in with my aunt for a while. He'd had years to make peace with whatever was out there, but he wasn't about to let it mess with me. We packed our things in one afternoon. I remember as we were locking up, I looked back one last time at the house. Something was standing. At the tree line, a figure, pale, thin, like a woman maybe, but distorted. Watching. I didn't say anything. Just got in the truck and we left. We never went back. My dad sold the place that fall. To this day, I don't know what that thing was. Animal, spirit, or something else entirely. But if you ever find yourself on Fox Hollow Road at 3 a.m. and you hear someone screaming for help, don't answer. And don't look. Because once you do, it knows your name. There are places far from the city lights where the darkness is older than memory. And where cries for help don't always come from the living. If you've ever experienced something similar, share your story in the comments. And remember, sometimes the scariest thing isn't that help can't come. It's realizing help was never going to arrive at all. Story 3. My name is Mark. This happened to me in 2011. When I was 25 at the time, I was working as a seasonal farmhand out in central Indiana. Things special. Just good hard work and cheap living arrangements provided by the owners. They were. An older couple, the Millers, real salt-of-the-earth people. Paid fair. Didn't pry into your business. Their farm was off a back road about 10 miles from town, surrounded by woods and fields on all sides. Quiet. Peaceful. Too quiet, maybe. Now the Millers had this old barn on the far edge of their property. Big red thing. Looked like it hadn't been touched in decades. No animals in it, no equipment. I asked about it once and Mr. Miller just said, "Don't worry about that one. We don't use it anymore. Didn't press it. Figured it was full of rats or maybe just falling apart." But one night, about a month into the job, I was working late helping bring in some fencing supplies. Mr. Miller had gone into town. I was the only one still out near the equipment shed. Around 9 p.m., I heard a sound. Not an animal. Not a coyote or raccoon. It was a voice. A woman's voice, coming from that old barn. Faint just above a whisper. I heard it clear. Hello, I stopped. Turned toward the barn, maybe 40 yards away. Thought maybe someone got lost or hurt. I called out, "Ma'am, you all right?" No response. Just quiet. Then again, "Please, help me." I dropped what I was doing and started walking toward the barn. But the closer I got, the more wrong it felt. Like the air changed. The way sound seemed to stop at the tree line. No bugs, no wind, just silence. The barn doors were shut, chained with a rusted old lock. I didn't hear the voice again, so I figured I imagined it. Maybe stress. I turned around to head back, and then, bang! Something slammed against the inside of the barn door. Hard, like a person throwing themselves against it full force. I ran back to the house and told Mrs. Miller. She didn't seem surprised. She just looked down at her hands and said, "That barn's been quiet for years. Don't go near it again, Mark. We're serious."
Eyes.
What was in there? She just shook her head. Something we decided to leave alone. That been enough. But I was young, stupid, curious. A few nights later, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about that voice. Bang. So I went back, brought a flashlight, my phone, and a bolt cutter I found in the shed. It was 2 a.m. The barn was dead silent. I cut the chain, pulled the doors open, and stepped inside. Dust choked the air. The wood creaked beneath my boots. My light barely cut through the dark, but I could make out old hay bales, rotted beams, and something that looked like a trap door in the back corner. And then I heard it again. Hello? This time, it came from behind me. I spun around. Nothing. Then the door slammed shut. I rushed to open it, but it wouldn't budge, like something heavy was holding it closed from the outside. Then the real noise started, scratching, loud, violent, from under the floorboards. Then banging, then dash laughter. A woman's voice, but wrong. It's too fast, too loud. Like it was inside my head and all around me at once. Help me, help me. Help me, help me, let me, out mark. My flashlight started flickering. I dropped it, backed into a corner. Then silence. Dead, perfect silence. The door creaked open on its own. I ran. Didn't stop until I got back to the house. The Millers were already up. Mr. Miller stood at the front door holding a shotgun. "We told you not to go in there," he said, not angry, just sad. "Now it knows your name?" I quit the next day, packed my truck and left. A month later, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. I didn't answer. They left a voicemail. I still have it saved. It's only 6 seconds long. The sound of a door creaking open, and a woman whispering hello. There are places on this earth meant to be left alone. Buildings that were sealed for a reason. Voices that should never be answered. And once you do, they never truly let you go. If you've got a true story like this one, that never made the news, one no one believed, leave it in the comments. And remember, sometimes silence is safer than curiosity. Like, share, subscribe. New horror stories drop every week. Until next time, stay safe, stay out of the barns, and whatever you do, don't answer the voice.